Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have returned for another entry in the challenge series saga. Why did I say that? It is time for episode 39. I'm gonna skip a word there. And this is going to be a bit of an interesting episode, as this is the qualifiers. Basically, this entire episode, as evidenced by the 3 cars you see in this opening shot, are all Group 4 events. There is literally nothing else. And, yeah. There'll be 5 Group 4 races today. The top 4 from each race qualify for the Group 4 Championship in episode 40. So these races actually carry a pretty significant meaning compared to the usual ones where you just kind of race. I mean, those have meaning. Obviously, you want to win the race. You want to win races and stuff like that. Get sponsors. It is more of a monetary thing. These races actually mean something as far as like a glory standpoint, though. So, let's just head into round 1. You're green for the first of the 5 qualifying events. First one takes us to the Red Bull Ring, and we are focusing today on Sebastian Orleans, a driver who's been here for a bit, but he hasn't made a whole lot of races. From what I understand, he was waiting for an opportunity like this to drive actual racing machinery and not road-going cars. This is the reason for his driving of a KTM Crossbow, because it's basically as close as you can get to a road-going race car. This game is a little loud. A bunch of contact up ahead and a little bit behind, as they're pretty wide behind the Alfa Romeo. Obviously there's going to be just a slight amount of extra aggression coming out of a lot of the drivers in this one, because these races mean a little more in the form of, you know, qualifying for the Group 4 Championship. It's pretty wide heading towards 5, but I think Orleans will at least be clear of that. Vegas tries to force the issue, but fails. Currently, Thrasher is a little ways clear of the rest of the field. The top 2 are pretty decently spread out. Mulsanne a little ways behind them, and my dad not far from behind her. And then Orleans quickly in pursuit of those 2. And again, top 4 qualifies, so you don't have to win or do anything like that, but a good finish is suffice. And Orleans is looking at getting himself into one of those qualifying spots. Good exit out of 1, both for him and for my dad. But Mulsanne's got that straight line advantage in the Bugatti. Orleans ahead of my dad, heading towards basically turn 2. Mulsanne gives Orleans no real estate, but it does not matter. And Orleans is up into 3rd, and more importantly, into a qualifying spot. Mulsanne and my dad have quite a bit of room to battle for the last of those positions, and my dad is hugely aggressive on the brakes. But he gets it well down, and it's a pretty solid overtake there from the Lexus. Haneo is ever so slowly closing in on the Mustang in the lead. Now, while you don't need a great finish to qualify, you just need 4th. Your position in the race you qualified in will actually determine where you start in the first round of the championship. So, winners of the 5 qualifying races will start 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. People who finish 2nd will start 6th through 10th. For 3rd place, you'll start 11th through 15th. And for 4th place finishes, you will start 16th through 20th. If a driver were to make the top 4 multiple times in the next 5 races, their best finish positions Okay, so like, say a driver gets third in a race and qualifies. Then they show up to the next race and they win it. They'll start in the top 5 in their next race. But the person who finishes second is considered the winner. Like, they can't qualify twice. They can't knock somebody out, as we see Orlean just send it on Koizumi and get into P2. Now only Thrasher remains. Yeah, so say Thrasher wins this race, and then he won the next one. This would count, and whoever was finished in 5th of that race, as he finds himself completely out of shape. He manages to recover and block Haneo off. I think he might have just psyched himself out. Yeah, it looks like it may have been a case of mirror driving. He sees the presence in his rear view and just freaks out. Loses a spot to Haneo, might lose another to my dad, but ultimately he's not on the chopping block yet because Mulsanne is some ways away anyway. Jansen is all over the back of Mulsanne, but this is ultimately for not much because they're not close enough to 4th place to really make it there. Mulsanne is all over the place, but Jansen cannot capitalize. The Veyron just has enough horsepower to where that doesn't matter. Now my dad is all over the taillights of Haneo. Thrasher having lost both those places, but only needs to stay here to qualify, which the battle between these two making that objective considerably easier as Mulsanne clears herself against the Viper driver. Okay. I think that was a bit of mutual bargy-bargy. My dad down the inside. Thrasher gives him the business and forces him to aggressively run Haneo wide just to avoid his own demise. So Dad gets ahead on that. Haneo wants to cross over but finds Thrasher on her inside instead. They make a small amount of contact. Jansen and Mulsanne, meanwhile, are still battling for the 5th spot. And Jansen will finally be victorious in that. Haneo is still in with a chance to take 3rd away from Thrasher and improve her starting spot in the first round of the Group 4 Championship, but with no real braking zones to go, I don't think that'll happen. As Orleans makes it through the last turn here at the Red Bull Ring, he will take a home track victory to start the Group 4 qualifiers. Victory for Sebastian Orleans. My dad comes home in 2nd. Thrasher does steal 3rd keeps 3rd over Haneo, and Haneo in 4th is the last driver to qualify for the championship. So to finish the explanation, Sebastian just won this race. If we go to the next race and he finishes in the top 4 again, I guess a better example would be to explain all parts of it. You know, Thrasher just qualified here, he got 3rd. If he were to run the next race and he got 1st, he would start in the top 4 again. He would then start in the top 4 top 4 instead of 9th, for example, in the championship. God darn it. Try that again. Thrasher just finished 3rd. If, say, he won the next race, instead of starting 11th in the Group 4 Championships first round, he would start in the top 5. And the person who finished 5th would then qualify. So technically speaking, if we match this same top 4 in the next race, then 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th would qualify for the championship. So basically just be among the top 4 drivers who weren't previously qualified, and you will be fine. We are green for the second race of the qualifiers. We head to Fuji Speedway for this round. And the focus car of this race is Natsuki Narashi. Rise is getting a bit of off-roading in there. I saw that in the corner of the screen. Natsuki is sending it on many cars into T1. She'll get Hansen and Sham and also get oversteer. Something that I'm sure she's more than used to getting by this point. She was not ready for Cam to arrive at that location. That's so I can assume that was the reason for that contact. She just wasn't ready to be sent. Sneaks ever so carefully around the outside of myself. A huge checkup as I think Sodakov got a little bit sideways on the entrance to that turn. That sets Natsuki back a good ways. She's now too wide with her teammate, Thomas. Thomas with a better exit, but he's behind me. He does not care. He will instead, well, attempt to send it on me, but run out of juice. Very close quarters between two teammates. Thomas misses the apex of that corner and gets into Natsuki a little bit. She gives the turn signals of what was that, and Thomas backs out to let her continue on her merry way. And then we look at the midfield. Everyone's kind of too wide, proceeding through the final turn. I'd like to point out that every single driver other than Ivan right now is in the top 10 is female. I think Emmy started 10th if I'm not mistaken. He's obviously also a female. We got Sayori, who's about to be passed by Ivan, probably. Horsepower difference is substantial. Yeah. Might also be passed by Fabian, also getting passed by Summers, might get passed by Narashi. She's gonna get mugged. She finds herself in Liverpool. Suako, Kotori, what is this camera? Rise, who just passed Kotori, I think. Hanasong, Nico, Kogasa, and Nitori, who just gets into the back of Barbara. Maybe a difference in braking point if I had to guess. Yep, Sayori has been properly mugged. Natsuki down the inside of 3 cars at once and getting them all overtaken into turn 1. Has a run on Ivan, but won't be able to take it anywhere. And June is all over the road. Ivan getting defensive against the 8-6 driver, but Natsuki does not care. Gets around Ivan on the outside, and then pulls right up to the back of Suaka. I think Mike Otto just had a meltdown there, I don't know. Probably. I heard it through my end, I don't know if it picked up on the mic as being off. Around the outside of the Subaru with ease, almost runs Kotori straight over. Seeing as the two are friends, I feel like Suako probably didn't fight that as much as she could have. Walking a tightrope, the second of consecutive hairpins, but Natsuki is up into 7th. Ever so slowly gaining on Rise. The 8.6 is not known for its top speed prowess, but neither is the RCZ for that matter. Somewhere along the way, Kogasa got ahead of Nitori and is now on her own attempts to pass Barbara Page for the lead. Nitori herself is under threat from Nico. And Natsuki is sitting on the inside of Song, getting ahead through maybe a little bit of the use of her door, but I mean, Song also could have left her a tiny bit more room than she did, so it's hard to say for sure. Either way, the pass is done. Natsuki is catching Nico. The pass would give her a spot that, if there's a transfer spot to qualify into the championship. Nico, surprisingly passive about the whole thing. Natsuki actually misses the breaking point for the hairpin. Inside of Nitori, who's just not ready for her to be there. Natsuki has to back out or face the consequences, but gets a great exit. Remains on Nitori's outside through the hole of the hairpin. Better exit. Good day to you, sir, or ma'am. Yeah, Nitori's a guy now, me? What? That's your literal associate, Riker. What are you talking about? Nico looks to just not get slipstream off of Nitori. She could probably have made the pass if she chose to, but she just refuses to run the same line. That said, she may still be alongside the Evo by the breaking point. Just about is, yes. Inside lane for the Supra. Hits the curb and pushes Nitori aside. Who's gonna have the better acceleration? It will be Nico, so she puts herself into the top 4, and thus lead into a qualifying position. Can Nitori respond? And can Kogasa even hope to catch the 2 leaders in time? You can see she's obviously pushing it, and the car gives a little slight oversteer of disapproval, but doesn't do much more than that. Kogasa applies the squeeze to Natsuki, basically forcing her off the track almost. Natsuki sends it back down the inside as a bit of a blood for blood pact. But now we're on the front straightaway and the Corvette's going to dominate her there. So here at Fuji, it's going to go to one of the few non-Japanese drivers on the grid. Barbara Page will be your winner. Natsuki Narashi, Kogasa Tatara, and Nico Yazawa will also qualify for the championship with their results. And Nitori will be punching the air. Ugh. So that is round 2. Mostly business as usual up to this point, and the races have been relatively uninteresting for standard fare Group 4 races, which have usually been very neck and neck, very down to the finish line races, and here we've just had victories that were made obvious before the last sector. Another lap, I'm sure Natsuki would have probably taken the win, or at least fought for it, but we ran out of time because we don't have all day here, so with that mindset, on to round 3. And race 3 is green. This time we move just a little bit up the country to a high-speed ring. Much longer race this time around, since it is obviously a much shorter circuit. And we ride on board with Trevor Graham in his absolute monstrosity of a Nissan with the Pontiac logo on the front, Chevy logo on the rear, Chevy paint job, and Dodge number font on the door. And he's getting turned by multiple people. 360. That was simply a case of Rise probably not realizing we're 3 wide here. Although she started to give room to Sebastian there, but he just did not. And he therefore turns Trevor Graham. He manages to avoid major damage done, but loses obviously a bunch of time from that. Apparently the race car AI will actually run the top lane at High Speed Ring, but the road going ones don't. So everyone here is running the top in the last turn. I think some will even do it in the second corner as well. But that's not gonna be a thing that everyone does. Only some of them. Still feel like so many other cars in this category are not renowned for its top speed capabilities. Losan is making an absolute clown out of herself by running Schwartz just about into a wall. Trevor is massively boxed in. Thrasher is incredibly understeery, and Schwartz slams the brake on Trevor. Apparently this car has a horn. I was not aware of that. Because Trevor just beeped it at Schwartz for him trying to make the corners after being moved aside by Thrasher, who must have made a very obvious miscalculation, to say the least. Ahead of the Bugatti, ahead of the 4C. Kotori, the 4C is just a short end. I think it's by far the worst car in the category, and its top speed is evidence enough of this fact. Thing gets to 6th gear and just stops. It just does not gain speed. You know, Fidel just trying to pass me. He tries to pull a dirt track slide job on me, but instead gets massive oversteer on exit. And I may take the spot back from him in a moment. He gets in my quarter panel again. We're just kind of used to this from each other, though. We've had many a battle over the years, mostly in Arc. So we know that we can use each other up a tiny bit, and the other person won't yell about it because they'll just give a slight nudge back. Trevor just pulls ahead of me. I don't even know what to say. And Fidel does the same thing. I think it was mirror driving, perhaps. The Audi TT Cup car also quite bad on the straightaways. And so with that, Trevor Graham puts himself into the top 4 and into a qualification spot. Speaking of qualification, we have a battle for the lead ongoing between Eric Wojciechowski and Nozomi Tojo. I have a stilted commentary from me there. Down the inside goes the 458. Gets into the outside wall. Tyler does the same thing. Uh-oh! Okay, then. Yikes. Trevor takes the outside of the Lexus driver. Oh, God. Yeah, so Trevor takes the outside line on the Lexus as Tyler defends into turn 2. Trevor accepts the challenge, but Tyler outbrakes himself into the corner, bounces off the wall, and Trevor is just given nowhere to go. A bit of McIntosh's trademark aggressive driving style at work there. Usually doesn't result in that, though. Just a brutal crash from any angle you look at it, and that is a red flag on the session. Which means that the results will be as they stand in now, obviously with a DNF to the Sylvia driver. So your qualifying drivers are Eric Wojciechowski, who steals the lead in this matter, followed by Nozomi, Tyler, and AJ will grab the 4th spot and qualify for the Cup. I was like, where it ends, does it not? There it is. So yeah, that was quite ugly. Luckily for Trevor, that may have totaled his S15, but these are all provided by the Gran Turismo Association. So it'll be fixed in due time. Maybe he'll be out for the rest of the week while he waits for it to get replaced, but he'll be back. And something tells me he's going to be back with a bit of a vengeance. Just a guess. Nice lights. We are green from the 4th race of the qualifiers. It is Deep Forest. I forgot the name. That was embarrassing. They're 3 wide heading into the first corner. Riley on the inside of the pair of them shoves both Lombardi and Kotori a little bit out wide. Stillwell follows the Corvette driver, does the same thing, and Kotori is left with nothing. She may lose even more places yet, as around the outside of her is Pablo Hernandez. Watch the cameras! Jeez. Still 3 wide. Kotori is just not having fun. She's started all 4 races in this qualifying week so far, desperate to get any shot of qualifying for the championship, but the 4th seat just ain't got shit in it. Honest to God. I told her she should try and switch. That is a thing you can apply for. You can switch Group 4s, but like, she just refuses, and I don't understand why. It's not working. But tangentially, the other 4C in the race, Violetta Vegas, is the focus car of the event. And she's making pretty significant progress. She's probably gained about as many places as Kotori has lost on this lap, so maybe it is a Kotori problem, because Vegas here doesn't seem to be having a whole lot of issues making up places. Into the top 10 through a singular lap of racing, looking for 9th on Johnny Parker, heading towards T1. Bit of a squeeze, but that pass is made. Wayne Hansen with the slide job of the decade on Fujikawa. Still may lose the place, although she would have to negotiate 2 corners on the outside, so no. Here comes Vegas. It's a better exit than the Peugeot. Can she convert? She converts into some oversteer after a bit of grass and still makes the overtake on the Peugeot. Some solid car control there. Hansen got absolutely nowhere on that corner exit. I don't know how you managed to get a bad corner exit in a car that's all-wheel drive. Hansen, you are an absolute fraud. As June Summers lines up the move on the other Alfa Romeo. Hansen gives Summers a bit of a nudge, and Summers is forced to kind of get into Minami a little bit. Vegas with a huge exit, makes it 3 wide between Hansen and Minami and sneaks through, up to 6th place. Wants 5th on the Aston Martin, but that's quite a stiff challenge to overtake that thing in a straight line. Even still, the Alfa Romeo driver takes the challenge and might succeed pretty soon here. Bit of the MR oversteer on the way in. Meanwhile, melee for 2nd place. James Stillwell, I believe, stole it from... Yeah, he steals... Lombardi went a little wide in turn 1. Stillwell takes advantage at the moment. He puts himself to P2. Vegas now closing in on the qualifying positions. Only has to make 1 more pass to do so. Or, you know, to qualify, I mean. To the outside of the BMW. That was smooth as butter right there. And now her next target is her boyfriend, Tony Lombardi. Huge run down the back straightaway on the Evo. Gets ahead as I think Lombardi broke a little bit early. Kind of surprised he would show such generosity to his girlfriend, if I must be honest. At least in that regard, you'd think he'd want 2nd place for himself, but no, Vegas is going to get to the outside of the GTR, take 2nd place away, and attempt to track down the leading Corvette. Stillwell decides that that's not happening, gets to the inside of the Alfa Romeo, and they remain 2 wide as they head up the hill. Whoa. Vegas on the inside of Stillwell. Stillwell got a little bit of a bobble going into that corner and sends Vegas to the Armco. She manages to keep the car going, but that may jeopardize her chances at qualifying there, following that side contact. Maybe it won't. She gets an exit of the hairpin that looks has never been seen. She locks up the brakes and into the side of her boyfriend. That's not good, because that just put her back out of the top 4 and heavily threatened Lombardi's own shot at being in that position. As we get a look at this from Pablo Hernandez's POV, or from Summers for that matter. Yeah, mid-engine rear-wheel drive moment. Vegas locks the brakes down and enters an absolutely painful tailspin for the 4C. Sends her backwards into her boyfriend, Tony Lombardi. Sending her backwards and Lombardi just wide enough to be overtaken by June Summers. Pablo Hernandez could have easily taken 4th away, but does not. Vegas recovered from that even? What? This doesn't make no damn sense. I mean, I guess a straight line exit, you can get on the gas sooner, but still, that's a little crazy to me. Gets ahead of Hernandez. Is she gonna steal 4th from her boyfriend? Yes, she is. In the meantime, Riley Blanchard cruises to an easy victory, followed by Stillwell. June Summers, the beneficiary of Vegas's error in the final hairpin. And then Violetta Vegas herself is going to salvage 4th place, which is just enough to qualify, at the expense of her boyfriend, who she nearly wrecked on the way there. Might need some relationship counseling after that, ladies and gentlemen. That's not going to be pretty, I don't think. And so, yes. Riley Blanchard, James Stillwell, June Summers, and Violetta Vegas qualify. Kotori, who, as a reminder, started this race on pole, finishes 13th, losing 12 places in just 4 laps. That is a new low for Mercury Racing, to say the least. It's one thing to be finishing down there as is, it's another thing to be finishing there starting on pole. And she's also the lone Mercury Racing representative in the event, so I was gonna say, I hope at least some of the other teams did very much better. No, Black Stallion Motorsports won the race in the form. No, wait, no, I'm an idiot. Riley Blanchard just got fired. Okay, so no, the other big teams don't really do much better either. The leading driver that's on a team is Wayne. No one. Thrasher finishes lower than that, and Minako finished lower than that. All right, that's kind of weird. We just have no presence from the big teams here. Yeah, nobody else on a team except for those 3 even ran this race. That's just bizarre. We are green for the final qualifying round of the episode. We head to Interlagos for the final one. And our POV driver, Rise Kujikawa, has gotten an absolutely terrible start in her RCZ. One driver is making their first appearance in a Group 4 in this event. Kazuma Hanamura has arrived in his S15 touring car. There it is. I'm like, can we get like a good look at this thing? Seriously? Oh, that's a shot. It looked like it was focusing on Adrian, and then suddenly a Sylvia. Alright. Rise already up into 14th, looking for 13th on Ross Drinkwater, who's making his first race in these qualifiers. There's 13th. Can Rise get more? She will darn well try. Making it 3 wide into the first hairpin in Interlagos. And she'll get Mulsanne on the next one. efficiency. Up the inside of Kotori, and she finds herself in the top half of the field, and then some, and we're not even through the first lap of the race. On the outside of Suwako for 9th. A good exit might put her in 8th by the end of the next straightaway, even. It seems as if she just gotten exactly that. Looks to the outside of Ryan Wolf, who gives her a bit of a nudge into the grass, but that does not deter the Peugeot from taking 8th place away anyway. And she also gives the hazard lights of what the fuck as she passes by. There's also a vehicle that's been redesigned here, and that is my own. I have a redesigned Viper. This is my future... Oh, this is like my permanent design now for the Challenge Series, for Group 4. The blue and white stripes, it got boring. So I instead switched to use my ARC car, and instead, I now use my ARC ride instead. It's quite appropriate, since a lot of people that I'm racing with here, I also race with in ARC. Example, Fidel, Jake, AJ himself. So, yeah. Seems only fitting I use my ARC car here. Let me say, it's catching 7th and 6th. Hana defends. Hana does whatever the hell that was. I'm not sure, if I had to be honest. Well, easy positions for Rise. She's now into 6th. Is that turbo floater? I just hear a seagull. As of now, Stephanie Kaiser, Jake Scarborough, Thomas O'Reilly, and Fidel Fabian would qualify. What the heck? What the Peugeot doing? How do you get this out of shape in a car that's front-wheel drive? That's what I want to know. Oh! You find the grass, that's how. A solid save, assisted probably by it being front-wheel drive. More understeer for the RCZ. Yeah, that's what front-wheel drive will get you. Sneaks right there, and now she's up into 5th. She needs to make only one more pass to gain a qualifying spot. Do a drinking game. Take a shot every time I've said qualifying in this episode. That's a quick way to get alcohol poison. Alcohol poisoning. God, Fidel has so many sponsors on his hood. Stephanie is just kind of maintaining the pace of the race here. Jake isn't exactly making much pressure on her. Probably knowing that where he is, he's safely qualifying in, finishing 2nd. Even as Rise makes her tear through the field, and she's now into 4th ahead of Fidel. He's under no immediate threat to not qualify, even if Thomas and Rise passed her. Fidel would have to do the same, and he can probably defend from at least one of them if he has to. Funny thing, if Thomas O'Reilly makes to the top 4 at the end of the race, he will be the 3rd Mustang driver to qualify. He will join... Nope! Another nudge from this time from O'Reilly, identical to the one that Wolf gave Rise, but with less grass involved. If Thomas makes it into the top 4, he would be the third Mustang to qualify alongside Thrasher and Nozomi. Thrasher qualifying round 1, Nozomi in round 3. It seems like it's pretty safe bet that he will do so, considering Fidel is almost an entire straightaway behind the rest of the cars. And I'm half a straightaway behind him, so... yeah, I'm take the L. I don't even get to qualify for my own championship. But neither does Nituri, so... Risa's getting a little up close and personal with Jake for P2. She can try and make a last-second push for the W. I mean, obviously that's what she wants to do, but I just don't know if she can do that. Oh, bad understeer, front-wheel drive moment. Okay, maybe she can. She's got a big exit out of that last turn. Porsche will have a better speed, normally, but Risa has slipstream and a better exit. And now the inside is the head up to the line. This one's going to go the way of Risa Fujikawa here at Interlagos. The margin of victory probably couldn't have been more than 2/10. Scarborough manages to just barely fend off Thomas for third, but Thomas, fourth place, will still qualify for the Group 4 championship, along with Scarborough. Stephanie, who's been ousted at the last second, and Risa will take the last victory qualification of the episode. So in summary, the full list of drivers who have qualified in for the championship, and thus also markedly running down the starting grid order for the first round of episode 40. Sebastian Orleans, Barbara Page, Eric Wojciechowski, Riley Blanchard, and Risa Fujikawa will start in the top 5 as they won their respective races. Steve Lummel, Natsuki Narashi, Nozomi Tojo, James Stillwell, and Stephanie Kaiser will start 6th through 10th from their second place results. John Thrasher, Kugasa Tatara, Tyler McIntosh, June Summers, Jake Scarborough, 11th through 15th. Haneo Koizumi, Nico Yazawa, AJ Unleaded, Violetta Vegas, and Thomas O'Reilly rounds out the grid for their 4th place results in their respective rounds. So the qualifications are over, and that will wrap up episode 39. Next time out, it will be the Group 4 Championship, which will be an unprecedented 6-race cup. 2 races per region. And I don't get to race in it. Son of a